Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the other side of the coin and welcome to your latest Chelsea news. The wheels have fallen off. The wheels have completely fallen off. And am I surprised by all of this in this season? No, I'm not, because a lot of us could see this from a mile away. The sad part is that the trend continues. That's the sad part. For the past 3 seasons, this is what we've been enduring. We've been suffering. And that's the truth. You could honestly sit there and keep saying, oh, here we go, he's moaning again, he's being negative again. But that's the truth. We've been mediocre for the past 3 seasons. And this season is going to be no better than the last two. This is the honest truth. Now, if you can't handle the truth, then I'm sorry. You're weak, you're flimsy, and you're living a fake life. Now, what is the latest that has dropped in terms of shocking revelations, truth that's been exposed yet again? Now, it's coming from Max. A lot of you guys will probably disrespect this, probably will say, Miz, no, Max is not a proper source, this, that, the other. Look, by now you should have clocked. Things are not great at Chelsea Football Club, and it hasn't been great for a while. By now you should try and work what seems right. Don't disregard some of this information from Max. Max, he's got some internal connection. Max is PYS, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know. He's got some internal connection. And some of the things that we're going to go through now, I need you to sit down and say, can this actually be believable? A lot of these things, in my personal opinion, can be 100% be believable. Once again, if you want to sit there and pretend everything is rosy and you don't want to take any of this on board, then move on to the next video. Go and watch something else. I'm not going to force you to watch this. But if you think, no, you know what, there could be something in here, then stay tuned. Stay tuned. All right. Let's go through this. Exclusive. Point by point. Let's go through. Some players are unhappy with the roles they are playing on the pitch. James, Gusto, and Nkunku are some. Could this be unbelievable? No. Could there be some truth around it? Of course. Some players are unhappy with the roles they are playing on the pitch. Reece James is playing in midfield. Thomas Tuchel recently said he's far better suited on the right side. Reece James seems to enjoy his football on the right side. Now, I get it. He's filling in midfield because we're in the Conference League, we're in the Premier League. It's very difficult to keep playing Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo on a regular. Lavia has been injured, so James has been filling in. However, you'll also have to say, why is Reece James being preferred at Conference League? Why is he not playing in the Premier League matches? He didn't start against Ipswich, and he's now potentially not going to play against Fulham in tomorrow's match. Why is that? Why are we prioritizing Reece James in the Conference League? Do you think he'll be happy about that? We saw his interview post-match. His demeanor, his behaviorism was so clear to see. There's not a single part of Chelsea Football Club that he enjoys right now. Malo Gusto, a horrific season. Inverting, doesn't seem like he understands the role, but can't seem to execute his play in that role. And he's been abysmal. Defensively, he's been horrific as well. Going forward, he finds himself in these half spaces where sometimes Nkunku, sometimes Cucurella operates. It's not the same thing. Just because Cucurella is able to do that doesn't mean another fullback will be able to do that. These players are fullbacks. So I'm not surprised that Gusto is not happy. And Nkunku, this brother should not have been at Chelsea Football Club after the January window. Full stop. It's not a surprise once again that he's not doing well. Plays as a striker sometimes, doesn't do well, doesn't work hard enough. Plays as a winger, doesn't work hard enough, doesn't have that explosiveness. Why is he here? Of course he's unhappy. And there's probably more. These are just some players that's been listed. There's probably way more than this list. So many players that were brought in last summer who left in the January window on loan. You think those players are happy? Most likely not. So the first point, you can categorically say, yeah, there's some truth behind that. There is definitely some truth behind that. Now, next up, Reece James, Sanchez, Tossen, and Chalaba trying to fill the leadership gap behind the scenes. Trying to fill. Reece James, Robert Sanchez trying to fill leadership gap. This goalkeeper should not even be a Chelsea goalkeeper, let alone trying to fill leadership gaps. I partly blame Maresca because he keeps preferring Sanchez. Now, as I've recently said, it doesn't matter whether you get Jurgensen in as well. Jurgensen's not any much better, probably, if anything, worse than Sanchez. But where Maresca doesn't help is he has boosted Sanchez's credibility to a ridiculous level that he really shouldn't have done. Where the directors and the owners are at fault is they've given him only the option of Sanchez and Jurgensen. They're not really giving him a proper option. Tossen, I said it from the get-go, if you guys remember, when we got him, I was like, I get it, he's on a free. I understand it. But is this really necessary? At best, he's a backup CB. He's a rotational squad CB. Now sometimes he has to deputize. Now sometimes he has to start. And now he's trying to be leader, fill the gap in leadership. Gone are those days where we used to have proper leaders. Now we got Sanchez and Tossen. Chalaba. I don't mind Chalaba. I think Chalaba was hard done by last season in the summer window. And then look at us, tail between our legs, had to call him back in the January window. And now he's having to be, having to fill in the leadership gap. Talk about embarrassment. A player that you've treated so poorly last summer, pre-season, abolished him. Now he's had to come back to fill in your leadership gap. Disgusting. And there's a little bit of more information about the leadership situation, which we'll jump into right now, and then we'll get back into those points. Check what Enzo Maresca is saying. And I don't know if this will sit well with some of the players, especially Reece James. Enzo Maresca says that we do not have a real leader in the squad. For sure, you need that. If you don't have it, then you have to try and build it. Reece is doing more. There's 2 to 3 more players that are making an effort. Reece is doing more. If you remember, Enzo Maresca went after Reece James earlier on in the season, that he's not a proper leader, he's not pulling his weight. And maybe he's not. Maybe Reece James isn't a proper leader. So it's not like I'm supporting Reece James. Maybe he's not. But what I'm trying to say is that all of this conversation, I don't know if this is going to sit well with the squad. And on top of that, once again, sporting directors, owners, why haven't you been bringing in real leaders in the group? No. Let's bring in the next 16-year-old. Let's bring in the next 17-year-old. When the team is screaming for leaders and the manager is asking for it. But when you have a real leader in the squad, it's much easier to manage during the season. I mean, Enzo Maresca is literally backhand slapping the squad that he has. Now you tell me, with all the nonsense that's happening and then all the stuff that Enzo Maresca is saying, which not very smart, openly saying all of these things. Look, I know some of us want the transparency from the managers. I get that. But you have to realize the time and the place for all of these things. Enzo Maresca last weekend went after the fans. And now there's a massive disconnect with the fans. And this weekend, he's going after his players. He's self-destructing. Enzo Maresca is self-destructing. Cutting your ties with the fans, cutting your ties with the squad. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. And you know why even more good luck? We are 7th right now. We are 7th as we speak. All weekend, everyone was praying for Everton to do something against Man City. All weekend, people were praying Aston Villa and Newcastle game to be a draw. Guess what happened? Man City won, and Aston Villa spanked Newcastle. So what does that mean? We slide down to 7. Remember when people was telling me solidly in top 4? Miz, what are you moaning about? What are you being negative? We are solidly in top 4. Solid, so solid. We're 7th now. We're 7th now. And we're playing against a team that Fulham, they think this is their final. We've had our manager say this is our final. I don't know what he means by this is our final. Like as if the last 2 games, what were they? Quarterfinals and semifinals? Brentford and Ipswich. We didn't even win them. And how are we into the final? All of a sudden, this is the final. Well, Fulham's also saying this is their final because they believe they can get into some level of European football. So you got all of that nonsense that's going on, and then you've got the manager moving the way he's moving. It's crazy. It's self-destruction. Self-destruction. Coming back now. Check this out. You're going to love this one even more. You're going to love this one even more. Some players like Jackson think the fans aren't helping. Nicholas Jackson. Once again, do you think this is unbelievable? Probably not. Probably not. Nicholas Jackson could come across like this type. He could. He hasn't scored in a while. He probably feels that, fans need to help me and urge me and get behind me a lot more. He probably doesn't like the fact that fans booing. Whereas Reece James in his interview yesterday said he understands why the fans are booing. He gets it. He gets it. Playing pathetic football. Playing disgusting football. Unenterprising football. Whereas you got someone like Nicholas Jackson who feels fans aren't helping. Once again, fans are to be blamed for all of these misfortunes. Fans. Wow. Maresca blamed the fans. Nicholas Jackson is now feeling the fans aren't helping. The audacity of this squad, man. The audacity. Some of these players, they think they're like superstars, man. They've achieved jack all in their careers, but they act like they deserve everything. Fans have been patient enough. We've been suffering. What are you on about? Why don't you try and do something? What you have been missing for the past God knows how many matches, like 15 matches or something. And you have the audacity to come and say the fans aren't helping. You help yourself, mate. Next up, Maresca is not currently under threat, but there has been eyebrows raised above about his usage of the squad. Of course, once again, could this be totally untrue? No. Massive truth around it. Has Enzo Maresca utilized the squad to its optimum level? No, he hasn't. I've said the squad's probably at best 5th or 6th. But the way we were moving earlier on in the season, it looked like maybe we were overachieving. Maybe we could do something. Of course, the owners and the sporting directors didn't help out in the January window, but has Maresca helped himself out? His utilization of João Felix, and I get it, João Felix has been a flop everywhere else anyway, but could he have utilized him better? Could he have utilized Nkunku better? Could he have utilized some of these other players that are not performing, Sancho, Pedro Neto? Could he have introduced, could he have used them a lot better than what we've seen? So, of course, look at Malagusto. Look at the players that are unhappy. Could he have utilized some of these players a lot better? Of course. Of course he could have. Next up, Huijsen is being pushed for. Chelsea see him as generational young talent. Generational. Agent fee plus playing time important in potential pitch. I've recently said Hussein. Daniel Hussein, is that his name? I think that's his name. Brother, I'll put my two hands together. Don't come to Chelsea Football Club. Don't. You've had a breakthrough season at Bournemouth. It's your first season. Think about your development. I know there's a release clause for 50 million and Bournemouth probably wants to cash in on that. But if I was Hussein, I probably would stick around for one more season because people have seen your talent. You're a talented player. And then you move on to the big club. But if someone will trigger that 50 million and you're looking to move on, sure, fairs. But don't come to Chelsea Football Club. This is not the place. Not for you and not for us either. This transaction is not good for anyone. We don't need another development defender because Hussein is not the finished product. He needs to go to a team where there is an experienced defender that he can work with. You want to come to Chelsea Football Club and be part of all of these fraudulent activities, your career is going to go down hell. Don't do this. I hope the right people are giving advice to Hussein in order to make the right choice for his career. You come to Chelsea Football Club, forget it, mate. You're never going to be representing Spain again. And you're going to end up being booed. You're going to be, people are going to say, oh, here we go, another youngster when we needed better defenders or experienced defenders. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. As I said, Chelsea don't need you. You don't need Chelsea. We need experience. We don't need another kid. We've got plenty of kids. Next up, Ekitike's agent was in touch with Chelsea and other clubs contact with Delap's camp. What can I say? What can I say? We need an elite striker in the likes of Osimhen or Gyökeres. That's not going to happen. Delap, I'm very, very unsure if that will happen. And he's not even elite. He's a development striker. And Ekitike is of a similar ilk as well, still developing. Some of these names that we are getting linked with, good, talented players, but we're still going to be mediocre because none of them are needle movers. All of these are development. We're thinking about the future when the present is burning. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts. We move on to the Fulham game. We'll start the watch along hour and a bit early, hour and a half early. We'll talk about the previewing of the match. We'll talk about the match prediction, this, that, the other. But I'm not confident, obviously. I'm not confident moving into this fixture against Fulham. Not confident one bit. And with all the nonsense that's going on, yeah, even more so not confident. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts about everything. Smash up the like button if you're here for the first time. Subscribe. Hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Until next time, take care. See ya. Bye.